248? Okay, I'll mute your mic out again. Okay, Kahea, you can go ahead.
Okay. So this is going to get into what Ms. Khalifa talks about too. Recognizing the natural cycles of your emotions and recognizing how your astrological sign plays into your behavior. The first one, recognizing the natural cycles of your emotions. When you start to pay attention to your body and your thoughts, and you start to pay attention to when you're sad and when you're happy, especially if you're a woman. But I think men too, because my husband has his little cycles. But women generally have PMS, and I use that dual ways. I think it's premenstrual syndrome, but I use this postmenstrual syndrome as well. With that, sometimes you'll get depressed before your cycle or after your cycle. Now, I learned that, and again, with what Ms. Khalifa says, as you change the way you eat, it really helps, at least with the physical pain. It makes it a lot less painful. And I'm sure that as you eat even healthier, which I'm working on, you'll have less emotions too. I also read that a lot of sugar can cause sadness, a lot of sadness in the body too. So I cut back on a lot of sugar that I used to eat. I eat way less than I used to eat. The next thing is the astrological signs. Sometimes they're prone to sadness. Sometimes they're prone to over-creativity, like Capricorns are prone to over-creativity. And from what I read, that connects to the third eye chakra. And so what I started doing was working with my third eye chakra to tone it down for me, to not be so over-imaginative all the time, and really focusing on getting it to be over-imaginative when I need it, like when I'm writing or when I'm making music or something like that, or when I'm painting. But during my everyday life, just kind of chilling out so that I'm not having these grandiose schemes of what could happen. And that works for me. And if you start to pay attention to the cycles of your emotions, then you can go, okay, this is the time that I normally start to feel a little emotional, so I can prepare for it. And then you know that it's not this thing or that thing, or maybe you don't know why. Why am I feeling this way? Well, it's because it's your cycle. You're going through the cycle of, a little bit of down emotion, and you just allow it to happen, and do things to help you feel better. If you need to cry, cry, but just don't wallow in the sadness like a pig wallowing in the mud, Say, all right, I cried my little tears, okay? Now it's time to do something like put on some happy music or put on a movie, a good movie, not a depressing movie. And, yes.
We have a question. I'm going to try to see if I can get her here again. Okay, 248, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what happened before. We were trying, but we weren't able to get you on. So, okay.
That's okay. I had to click on. Yeah. This is very interesting topic, so timely. But she mentioned constipation, and I just had to laugh because I was like, okay, she must have said that for a reason. I don't know if it's off the subject or not, but that's what I seem to be addressing a lot of in my life right at this point. And I have tried everything. It's holistic, this, that, and the other. It doesn't seem to help. And I'm like, what is going on with my body? And I know when I'm going through some trauma, and it, like you say, some of the thoughts surface to precipitate some of the issues that I'm having in my body, which is, the stagnation. And I just need your opinion while you're going through some of this, because sometimes I just can't, speak on it, when you mention certain things. What can I do to help with this? Because it seemed like this has been a lifelong lesson for me. And some things work sometimes, and then other times I'm back to where I was. So maybe you can help me with the idea of how to get this, in control.
Okay. Now, I think you might have misunderstood me, or either I'm misunderstanding you. Mm-hmm. But I was talking about constipation of the mind. Are you talking about constipation?
I understand totally. Yeah,
okay,
no, but when you mentioned that topic,
okay.
It just kind of thrusted me into that predicament of where I've been. So, yeah, I know what you were saying, but...
Okay, now because when I'm talking about like trying to force yourself to not think. So then you're feeling kind of a pain or like a pressure in your head or like a discomfort. Is that what you're talking about?
No. I'm talking about the physical part of it, constipation. I know what you were saying, but when you mentioned that word, it triggered that's the what I'm going through with that issue. So yeah, I know where you were with that. I just couldn't interject, like some of the things you were saying, and what our minds and our body are in sync with some of the thoughts that we have not processed or handled properly. We have not quite arrived to what we need to do to help our bodies. So I was wondering, is there any way you can address that issue, if you can follow me?
Yes.
Hold on for a second. I understand what she's talking about. I know exactly what she's talking about. But if we can let Khalifa handle this.
Right, I was thinking that too.
Okay,
I think she can address it much better.
Okay, go ahead.
This is Khalifa. Can you hear me? This is Khalifa.
Yes, go ahead, Khalifa.
Oh, all right. Yes, I had an experience where with my empathic intuition where someone was going through something similar to what you're going through. And I'm going to ask you to take a really good look at compassion.
Okay.
And how you are operating, and maybe you need to just pay attention to being more compassionate.
Okay.
You might be trying to protect your feelings and holding back in that area of your life. And it could be something that you inherited. It could have to do with your first chakra, where you came into life with certain issues around family, and where you had to protect your feelings, and you had to be strong and not let things penetrate. But it may be that it's overly done. The experience I had was where I woke up just like I had not necessarily a dream. I knew I was going to wake up, but I woke up with something I didn't have when I was a horrible pain in my rectum. And when I went to the restroom, I thought I was going to die. When I went to the restroom, I realized it wasn't me then. I knew I was carrying someone. And so I always say, this is why it's so important that you know whether or not you're healed or what's going on with your body. But when I came back, I knew I was interceding for someone else. And when I finished praying for that person and commanding that they have a relief, I found out it was someone who had blockage. And they literally had, I think, hadn't had a bowel movement for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And they had one that morning, and it wasn't anybody I knew. It was a friend. It was the mother of a friend of a friend. And when I told her about the experience, because when I woke up the next morning, I was fine. But she told me, oh, that was my friend Robin. That was her mother, and she had a bowel movement that morning. And so, but so I prayed a lot about that and what was blocking her, and it was years and generations of things that had gone on. So I don't know if it's anything personal with you or something with your family, but it's something that you should take a look at. And also, you might be able to see it if you have your astrological chart. But that's something emotional because of very, very much it has to do with emotions.
Thank
And
you.
the moringa that we talk about a lot too, that is a good herb for all the things we're talking about. So you can check with Navaxa. She could tell you how to get that product.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, it does work. That works for me, too, in that area. I think for everyone in that area.
Rhonda, appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Uh,
Okay, Kahea, I'm going to say thank you for, we've got caller from the 646-248-423 and 559. Thank you so much for being here. And again in chat, we've got Brother Dave, Callie Wood. She will be bringing us the news in a few minutes. Chuck and PJ, Radio, guest 2404, and the one diva. Okay, continue. Thank you all for being here.
Okay, well, that is pretty much all I had to say. Oh, I know, the last thing I want to talk about. There's two sections at Barnes & Noble. There's a self-help, well, three sections. Self-help, and the other one is called self-improvement, and the other one is called psychology workbooks or something like that. I highly recommend checking out those three sections, mainly because, and I'll use an example, there's a woman named Lucinda Bassett, and she has a program to help people with different issues. I had ordered the trial, and everything that she was offering as far as vitamins, my mom had already given me, and everything she advised as far as techniques, I already read in the psychological self-help books or psychological workbooks. So you don't have to go pay $200 or something like that, unless you want to. If you want the program, try it out. But, if you want to work with your own particular issue, then you can go check out those sections and really start working on improving yourself and dealing with your past. A lot of times you have to deal with your childhood, different things people may have said to you or things you said to yourself, and clearing that. And they have a lot of ideas on different ways to heal yourself, and I'm sure that if you go there, you'll be able to find a book for your particular issue. Okay.
Well, thank you so much, the one diva. We appreciate you being. Khalifa, do you have any last minute words? Yes?
Well, I just want to commend, what was that, one diva?
Yes, the one.
I just want to commend you on being so open, as you always are with us, and sharing these very intimate details of your life so that we all can benefit. It's just, I just commend a hundredfold blessing back to you, because the energy and the information you're putting out can really help a lot of people know that they are in fact healers and they can heal themselves. All they have to do is just search, just be willing to launch into the deep. And I commend Navaxor, a goddess I call her the goddess of Axor, for allowing us to experience this with you all this evening, because it's really been a blessing, and I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people. Peace.
Thank you.